Well, this wasn't easy to figure out. So ultimately, I made this right angle bracket, and it goes past the end there. I put an aluminum spacer. I don't know if you can see it. And then I threaded it, and then I put I threaded not the aluminum spacer, but the bracket, and then that goes through. Because I wanted to thread a bolt and hold it in there and send it down as a stud the same way, but there was not enough room to get it all in. So you got to double nut this to put it on or off. And the third stud coming out of the side here is not entirely helping me, although I'm not sure yet how I'm going to put on the AC unit. So maybe I will come off that. I did put the brace in the back there because I already had that guy set up. And then this guy, because it goes off to the side here, I'm going to have the one for the AC kind of go there, and I can meet it there because I'm not going to be able to see any of these bolts. It's going to be very hard to get these nuts on this thing, you know. And then of course I modified this, and this stud didn't come out 100% straight, so I had to elongate the hole a bunch, because it just wouldn't go all the way, and it seems to be pinched down a little bit, so it wasn't sitting 100% flush to the metal like it should. But that's as good as it's going to get. And that's going to hold the front. I have some foam coming, so I might hold off on this, and I may put the foam on the inside. I was going to put it around the whole thing, but it's too late. I did all that top piece already. And, just the foam will actually give it a little extra to hold it on, because it's a very fine thread that it's holding there. And the sheer fact that it's just wedged, and then those side nuts are tightened, is what's holding it. And then the back brace, of course, but it's solid as a rock. It's very, very light, so I don't see it being an issue. But I was avoiding putting that guy on top of everything, so we shall see. But this has been a real project in itself. But I had to put something here. To me, that looks real good. Like it's meant to be, as far as I'm concerned. That is. Come on, get in focus. That is one nice flare. I can't say that it's perfect, but it really looks pretty good. But as you can tell, I forgot to put it on. So I'm going to do it this way. I don't want to waste that one. Damn it. I guess the cut also from the original thing, it looks so nice, but I didn't realize how much it folds in the thing. Even though the tool fit in, the little point on this guy fits into here. This is much wider than it was, because that tool would not fit. And I guess I had to cut it initially to get that to work. But then, I made my own cut, and it was still low. So either this is very soft, or which is probably the case, or it's just that tool is not really being aggressive enough to get in there. I had to really push to get it through. Okay, let's check our work one more time. That looks nice. When you do that, it kind of falls below the surface there. This is going to be good. Very nice. Just to show you, when you get a Chinese tool, that works good. Sometimes the parts, they give you a tool cutter, pipe cutter in there, and you can see I got a chip in it. I'm like, why is it not doing it right? So I do own a good one. Rigid, spring-loaded. You just tighten it once, and it does the cutting for you. I feel it was smashing it, but it was also getting hung up on that thing probably. Okay, it's looks lighter than it actually is, but I did all the brake lines, so I got it all in there. Got ran to the other side. I did the ones in the back. They're all done. Like I said, these say in the 90s, so they were done. everything pretty good with that. The steering box though, now if you remember, I had one long bolt and the two shorter bolts because I had one bolt backwards, but I'm going to put them in this way. After scouring everything and asking AI, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, these are hardened washers, you know, so these are not going to bend. They would crack before they bend. And if I put 3 on top of each other, because this is the correct size, 3/8, well, they're really metric. So this is 10, this is 12, and this is 16 millimeter. So this is, you know, obviously a little bigger, but it's fine, you know. And then I'll cover up the light. I tightened this one, just one, and I didn't even go crazy. Let me just see if I can see a hole. Hopefully I have it lined up. Yeah, that's... Why is it? I can see the hole fine. On camera, not so much. You see the light. I must be holding this angle wrong. There we go. That's the hole. And that's the hole. So I basically put them in the middle. And I held that one bolt. And this is I have a locking nut on there with the plastic insert. Still fine thread. And I made it tight, but I didn't go really crazy all the way. And I just tried to grab that steering box and move it, and it would not move. So this is definitely the answer. Ultimately, I'm just transferring this section here that the sleeve that's in here is definitely in a bigger place. It still allows me to adjust it if I had to, and I'll be able to unzip it and zip it back in. And these hard ones are not going to go anywhere. I just needed it to go over that greater area. You can see that this is not, perfectly aligned because of where you could see actually where the sleeve is. That's definitely going to cover it. It's not going to bend. It's going to do what I need it to do. And that's pretty much it. So it's getting dark. I don't know where the other long ones are, but just by pulling that one in, I was not able to, because this is the pivot ball, I figured I'd just do that one. It definitely did not pivot, or it would not move, even though that one tightened up, and I didn't go super, super tight. So I accomplished. I had to do brakes with the car in between, so I basically had to stop. But I got shocks for this car. I'm going to do the shocks. I have to do the fuel lines too. That's a bigger one I have to really get done. So I probably will do that tomorrow, along with putting the rest of these bolts in. I think this is going to be fine. I'm debating whether or not just to change the power steering motor, because it basically fell out now. It's just hanging by the wires, because I had to totally dislodge it. But it just seemed, I know the tire was flat and everything, but I just seemed like it really didn't have enough oomph to move it. And I'm a little concerned about that. I figured because it was loose. It was loose though, so it might have been binding. That might be all it is. But for a girl to drive it, I don't know, maybe just get another one that I have and just put that one on. I'll save this one for my project whenever I get that done, which would be probably never. So I can probably deal with it, but I don't know if she can. So I might just bring the motor from the other one, and that'll be that. That's all. And I'm going to find a way for the rubber piece to get back on, although it's kind of broken. I don't have the ability to do these kind of staples. Not sure how I'll do it. But fuel lines, I got a return line and a pressure line that I have to do. But I'm real happy about this. I kept dreading this, and it's kind of the reason why I didn't even do the brake lines for so long. So it looks good. I got to find the long bolts, and that's about it. And I think that's it for tonight. So I really nailed these down, and the more I was looking at it, I'm like, you know what? The body right here lines up perfectly here. So I let the thing go down there and then winged them down. And these really worked. This one was definitely longer, and I was going to buy one, but I found an extra one here. And I'm debating whether I should lift up those, these washers here. I might just do that. I think I can. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely really clamped down. This is just enough thread. I did put it more than I did last night, but this one is one of the original bolts, and it's about the same, maybe a little bit less. So in certain parts of the chassis, it's thinner, which really complicates things. You know, you'd want it to be. That's why I couldn't put like it's just a steel plate here. I mean, I might have, and I'd still have to play with it. But I think having it on the chassis here definitely helps to keep it, you know, stationary. Because you know what it is, it's just then it just sits square, you know. And then if I didn't bring the other motor I have, and I'm like, just you know what, I got to try this one before I assume that, because I had problems here. So I'm going to try to move this because it almost looks like it's kind of like this. So I'm going to move that one first, and then because I don't want to bend the bolt either. So when I go up, hopefully it's not bent. And if I try the motor and if it still doesn't work, then I'll get the other motor to be certain, because I want to use the one that I have here. You know, it's just whatever. I can just take it out again. It's not a big deal. That joint makes it very easy to move, but that one bolt I had yesterday, it wasn't even that tight. Like I made it way tighter today, and it wasn't moving with the one bolt. Like I don't even know. It's crazy how you put I mean, there's no way that thing is moving with the three of them with the hardened bolts. So you just got to be careful, because it will cave in, because that's what all these did. They all caved in. Of course, this is way thicker because it's way bigger, but the 3/8 thick washer, it's not all that thick. And when it comes to doing something like this, even this is the original washer, and it really bowed out. I don't even know how to. I guess the original washer would go. Like I said, you would just torque it. You would torque it and just keep it nice and snug. But this needs to be tight because it's independent now of the rest of the column. So it's always something to look out for. You got to think like an engineer sometimes. Let me see if I can move that bolt. So I guess the short answer is no, I can't, because then I'd have to raise these up, because the bolts are all fixed, you know, on the other side of that thing. So I seem to be able to bring it down more, because the fine thread really pull it in, but that's because this thing is right on the edge, so you can't overlap it like you can these. So I mean, if it's holding here and holding a little bit less here, it's fine. It's still tight, and I don't see any issue with it. You know, the sleeve is probably not as strong as this could tighten, so I'm not gonna go crazy, but I know it ain't moving. Like these are more flat and they kind of stopped. This one kind of wanted to go a little bit more, but it's right on the edge here, and I try moving the washer, they keep moving, so I'm not terribly worried. They're all hardened washes. It's just not going anywhere, so I like it now. This is way better. I was really concerned about this, that there was something wrong. I had to start drilling out the chassis and putting the sleeves in and whatnot, but thank God it's engineered good enough that, you know, for doing something like this. Oh, I got to do that oil thing, because that's not the right size in the end. And I wanted the original one to kind of fit on there, and I'm not sure if it will or not or what. So I got to unscrew this guy. And, oh, there goes. Way to mess up something. All right. Drop the old ferrule. So I like to do that. I like to get the oil filter on. I got to do the 2 fuel lines, which all this required to be done, because you really don't want to run fuel lines when this is all loose. You're not sure when the end result is and whatnot. So not a big deal, but it's still it needed to be done. And I'm glad that it looks good now. Really coming along. All right. Got a rubber hose there. And we got, can't see. I got 2 clamps on there because the way they made it, it was just smooth coming out. It had no ferrule. I made a ferrule on this. You can feel it with the flaring tool. That is the way I had it set up already in the tank there. And it was a piece of, I tell you, these cheap copper pipes, they get rusty or they get green, either way, you know. So I cleaned it up, and basically the copper came off. So it's a bendable line, you know, but I put aluminum over here. I had ordered a 1/4-inch aluminum line, but it ended up, when I opened it up, it was 5/16, and I couldn't return it, and, you know, that's it. So I ran the return line this way, And this was the way the original one was here. I kind of didn't want to do the other one with it. I just felt like it was going to be too close and clashing. This is less important, and you know, I have it far enough away. You know, if you pry this or loosen the clamps, you can get to the bolt if you had to, but that would mean you're lifting the body off the car. So, and then I just use zippy screws to hold these things in. It was holding good on this. I left this clamp here. I just put it out of the way. I'm going to put zip ties around there so the line doesn't touch the edge here. So that way it stays where the wiring harness is. And I bunched up space in between here, you know. And I went down the line. I put the brake line in this one just to kind of direct it, you know, because it did get a little loose. There was extra, you know, play in the line, and then because of this, I couldn't really get there, so I had to put the clamp upside down, put the screw in the bottom, and then I put one clamp for the brake line at that point. Everything else, I don't think it's really an issue. It starts to go up the wall there. Maybe I can put one on the inner fender well. This side, that's where you can see lines run. Shared a bolt in some cases, and because my line was short, I had to put a union. And over here, another clamp for the electrical, because it flips on this side instead. And that was just because originally I had the original master in there at first, and then over here I decided to go this way. I think the original went right through here and up through here. I don't know. I just felt like this is less streamlined. You know, it's more streamlined. Ooh, I got the hiccups. More streamlined on the bend here. It's just 190-degree bend to the fuel pump down there. It's really not bad, and it's not terribly long. And you know, it's a little bouncy up here, but that's not crazy. If it went this way, yeah, I probably could have mounted it somewhere, you know, but I got the motor mount here, and I just feel like it had to come up and then over, and then, you know, if you take apart the front end at any given time, it gets close to that. So I just assumed that make it far out of the way. The aluminum bent really nice, so I was able to do this hooky thing here, you know, and I know it's not going to, you know, interfere with the steering box, because the steering box is in now. It's not going to be an issue. I got this guy going down that way with a nut hiding behind this. I mean, it's pretty solid, you know, so pretty happy about that. Got a little more plumbing here. I ended up splicing this the other day, and then I realized I wanted to put like this type of casing around it, you know, and I'm probably going to cut this and put the thing for the oil thing, but I'm going to get a union and put a coil of 1/8, so it's not, because this one originally had a rubber hose on it, and I sold that with the engine, so it's like a 1/8 inverted flare. Like nothing on a car is like this anymore. It just isn't, you know. So I just dropped something, of course. And I'm not quite sure where I laid down that copper thing, the brass thing that's going to go in there. And not this. Come on, man. How am I the only one that can press through? All right. So I took out the other thing because it was 3/16. This is the little kit. Did I put everything back in here? Is that what I did? I believe I did. Yes, I did. So that was smart of me. So it's looking like the whole gas line is done. All the brake lines are done. Yeah, I made this a little too long. I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with me. This black and this yellow wire are going to be for the amp meter gauge. Hopefully I make it work, because it's something I never did before, the way, you know, because normally you run all the power through it. So I ended up looping this around, but I just figured I could unplug it and re-loop it. But I kind of wanted a little bit of protection around it. I mean, I could technically, wind it up, but I'm not 100% sure. This is I just put tape on it for now. This is the brake pedal, because originally it was going to go down to the floor. So I kind of wanted to leave that open if anybody ever wanted to do it again. Not that they would. But it also helps because the brake switch is so buried that if you really had to diagnose it, I mean, the power coming in comes from that box over there, but there's really no way to diagnose it. Granted, if I didn't have that, it would have been all underneath the thing here, and you would have be testing it at the steering column where it goes into the directional signal. Not a huge deal, but at least it gives an extra step, an extra thing you can test it on. I will see where I put it. I'm not 100% sure. It'll probably cut it down as well. Probably got to start finding places to put this stuff. I have these little brackets that go on here, but I don't really have this one facing the right direction. I kind of have to twist it, but I can probably put it on and manage something. I got to put another one of these guys. I took this off already for the steering, I believe, because I had to take it out and reroute at that time. And I probably got to put another one for the other fuse box, and probably one for this. I'm not sure if I'll do that. I guess I'm supposed to. And everything is pretty much protected with a fuse, Of course, going in, I have this one turned on. It'll be turning on a bigger wire, so I'll see. I have one going before. That's interesting. Oh, this might be going to the other. I don't think so. I can't remember. Or no, I didn't cut it. Ended up, because I stretched it out behind there. This guy got a lot longer. So this one will go on here directly. And then the ground will just go wherever. Little things I gotta figure out. Looks like I am gonna use this green guy. Be really fun. I have more things to do. I'm fucking just crazy to do all this shit. But yeah, I might just cut this down and make it shorter, and then put it in a sleeve. The thing is like I can't really put the sleeve in here. This is hilarious. Neighbors are having a party. This is the Saturday before Father's Day. I don't know them, and I found it pretty hilarious. So yeah, so I got some buttoning up to do with the wires to make them look a little more user friendly. Looking good, I must say. I'm very, very pleased. I suppose I can hook up put some brake fluid in soon and let it just start, gravity bleeding. And the only thing with this bracket, it's going to be a little hard to get this thing out. I think a good idea might be to attach some kind of string on here that you can hold to get it off, and then you kind of go like this. Hey, you can still go like that anyway, Not a huge deal. Like I said, this guy is going to be cut down, but this is pretty hilarious. The music and the singing, the karaoke, and I can sing, so I don't want to, shit on anybody. But I'm probably going to turn this off. I'll be likely YouTube will give me a strike for something, All right, so we got this. This is the original oil line. I put a union down here, and I made some twirls, which really doesn't look good on camera, but it's. I wrapped it around the pipe, and now that gives like a cushion. Hopefully, it's good enough. A nice open area. I don't know about this screwed it. Filter, you gotta drain the oil. Still has oil in there, and pretty close. I gotta do a tune-up too. I done the plugs, but then I decided I was gonna buy the other stuff, even though it didn't look that old. I figured it had 19,000 miles because how much the motor had on it. So 19,000 miles, and since 2019, so it hasn't been run in a long time. It's worth doing, you know. Getting excited. I gotta fix this. I gotta find the end I bought for this, because this cable was from AutoZone, and I bought this cable. I know I did, because I returned it because I said, "Hey, somebody screwed me." I said they broke it, and then they returned it, and then I got it. So I said, "You got to return that to the company," and they never did. And then I went and I go buy it. You know, a year later, I went to go buy it again, and it's like they don't put anything. They don't send anything back to the manufacturer, probably because they lose, or the store gets penalized, or something like that. And that's ridiculous either way. I don't think it's the people who work there's fault. So, but man, am I tired all day long today with these lines. But I got it done. All the rubber hoses are in, so I'm sure I can accomplish a good amount tomorrow. I was supposed to do a motor, but the guy's all wishy-washy now, even though I have the motor here for another car. It's a friend, and he's always broke, and I told him $1,000 if you want me to stop what I'm doing to go work on your motor. And now he wants to pay me to store his motor because he's not sure now, because the car runs, it just blows smoke. I'm like, that was the whole reason why you said you want to do it. So, nah. I tell you, when you work for cheap, you get just when you think you have people that can't be any cheaper, they get cheaper. And it's not that I didn't even want to do his motor. This car's a piece of shit. He drives it with no insurance, no registration, no anything. Fake plates and all this that. Don't ask me how he survives. I don't know how, but oh well. Definitely coming along. I'm really happy now. Really happy. And it would be good if I got this done too. These hoses here. It's supposed to connect down there and through that hole there, and over here. And then I gotta decide how I'm gonna run that. I guess I'm gonna do these hoses. They look not really bad, but they look a little old. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna do these that come off the defroster motor. I don't know if I bought these. They really seem just fine, but it's funny how they have like original clamps. I can't believe I'm saying that, because it's like 70 years old. Like, why wouldn't I change it? Because I'm getting lazy. This is the hose that I ran. No, it's not. This is the original hose. And then I got to make it fit. This is another original hose. It had to be changed. Somebody had to do it. It's like they used original style clamps and everything. But maybe they didn't change this, but it really, I don't know, just the way they're making hose back then. But it looks really good. But I'll probably just do it and get it over with. Not sure if I'll do that tomorrow, because I'm sure there's antifreeze in those hoses that go down to the heater core underneath the seat. I almost rather get a couple other things done. And I don't know, should I fire it up? I'll see. Maybe not the next day that I work on it, but in the next few days. I'm sure I have other things to do. Hey! So I can't turn the wheel back right now, but I just threw the tire on just to hold it flat, and it does not hit anything. And it says, oh, I don't have to turn the wheel. I look at this side. and it misses. I like it. Wait a minute, what's that? Oh boy. That suspension piece, how can they even do that? That should have been inside the wheel. Well, that's going to be interesting. I don't know if it's an illusion, an optical illusion, but there's a grease fitting. I guess I should jack it up and take a look. So I jacked it up, which is not always a definitive, thing, because the suspension may hang. So if the suspension is hanging, honestly, that joint should be roughly in the same place, but that arm can actually dig in more, but it is grazing it. That sucks. You can see the line it made. Right there. Oh boy. I'm hoping I can grind that off on the arm and it's okay, but it's kind of funky. I should just probably buy 1/4-inch wheel spacers. That stinks. They literally only gave it the distance of the oh, I just realized I fucking balanced this wrong. I have an old weight on here I must have missed. That's wonderful. Sure, it's still balanced, but it's supposed to not. That's not supposed to be. Oh man, that sucks. Wow, it just barely grazes it. But I just feel like if the suspension moves, it can dig maybe. Oh man, that sucks. I gotta figure out something. So I was doing this side first, that line that I originally made, but it looks like it's going to miss now. I don't know what happens when I... Oh, guess what? Did I cut the wrong thing? I cut it right here. I'm wondering if it's really the problem. I hear something rubbing, but it sounds like the brakes itself. Maybe I'm mistaken. No, because it was definitely making this rubbing noise. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem now. I guess it just pulled away when you... It has a weird... Damn, that's close. I can see it better than the camera can see it. I believe I nailed it, because that's pretty much where, if this guy here was like this over here, I grinded it down. I grinded it pretty significantly. The thing is, though, it doesn't look like that was the thing, but it possibly could have been. I should have looked. I guess what I can do now is go over here and then determine. Oh yeah. It looks like what I did. It's definitely lower. It's not that thing I grinded off. That was a bad assumption. So, for all intents and purposes, I don't see it making the... Oh, maybe it was this, because I don't think I did this, but I don't know if I went... I did something with the disc, the cookie disc. Boy, oh boy. I think I'm going to take off the other tire and then see what, because it's more fresh on that side. And if it's more fresh, then I won't be messed up with what I did. Yeah. Definitely made us. Is it bad? Oh, that's interesting. So that'll be easy to grind. That won't be an issue. Oh, wait a minute. Is it hitting this? It might be hitting the grease fitting. That's wild. It's like, can I put a different grease fitting in? Son of a bitch. Of all the stupid things. I'm wondering if a 90-degree one would, pointing backwards or up would make a difference. Wow. It kind of looks like it's touching there, but it almost seems like this is it. Even blowing is it back? Gee, that looks very convincing that it's hitting that. Oh boy. I don't think... Yeah, it was hitting this. Is it after it took off the grease, the crap, that it's not so bad now? And then you got to worry about, if the bushings ever wear out and it starts teetering forward, you don't want it to pop a hole in the tire. I'm really wondering if just increasing it by a 1/4 inch by putting a spacer would be okay. But then again, 1/4 inch is not really good because this is where this thing rides here. You'd fuck this up then. So it looks like you got to kind of clean this up. Now, I don't know if I went on top of that or not. I mean, I guess I should just take out the grease fitting and see if it hits, because that side was still hitting consistently. So I think I'll do that. But this one made a mark in a couple of places, but then it stopped. And I'm not quite sure why. And the other thing is, this thing is down because it's hanging, the suspension. It's hard to say what happens, but although the car's very stiff up because it's also light now in the front. So I got to think about what happens when this goes up. Is it more intrusive? But it also, it should pivot this out. If this goes up, this comes out, and it may separate it from that. It really may not be a big deal, but it's something that you want to look out for nonetheless. You don't want to test drive it and you fucking ruin the tire on the first try. So I gather if you prevent it from touching when it's up, it should be better when it's down, or when the suspension is hanging down. This should be not an issue when you go up, when everything comes back up to normal. That is my guess. We shall see. Okay, so what it seems like it's not the grease fitting. Right there. This right here is where it's touching, so I can run a 45 on that. I don't know if it's simultaneously catching this, but I don't think so. It's definitely lower than this, and I can see it. And I don't know if you can see. I guess you can see it on the film. They painted it too. It's like this is some black shit that they painted, but this looks like it was just rubbing, because I can see shininess like bare metal from rubbing that area, and it's pretty much right in line with where that is. Now, it's starting to get dark and people are having a party, and I don't feel like using the grinder too much, but I don't know if I can get away with it. I'm sure I can get away with it, but maybe make a little grind mark in there. I'm just not convinced that it's totally foolproof. But I gotta figure that if it rotates, if it articulates up, I don't know if the bottom part will like get in the way then, or what. I'm not sure. Let me just kind of screw this guy back in, because it very well might have been hitting this, because this is all dirty except for that one spot. You know, it may catch it on the curve going around, so I may want to still look into some other thing. If there's anything like that, though, it sticks out like a son of a bitch. Very interesting. Oh boy. I mean, that kind of looks like it's hitting too. Yeah, I guess if I leave this on the dark side here, where it's a little gook, will it actually work? But I might as well grind a little bit off this and a little bit off that corner there. Son of a gun. It's always something. Okay, I didn't go crazy on that one. I guess I can clean it up more there. Put this tire on, test it, take it from there. Hang on. Alright, it's still touching somewhere. What the hell? Oh, maybe it's touching me. Feels weird like this. Alright, I guess, hang on. Yeah, it frees up as soon as I'm wondering, because that grease fitting is not all the way in. Like I said, I moved it so that the dirt was exposed. That looks like it was hitting it. Fuck yeah. So now what? I take it out and then try it, because it seems like both were hitting it. Ugh. Because the brakes aren't adjusted, it's a fucking pain in the ass. Ugh. I've wonder if I got a spacer that was like 1/8 of an inch would work, but I don't know if they make them. It almost seems like it's a wider path now. It seems to be that spot right before that edge. Hang on, I'll show you. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's actually up here more. Unless it is touching, I don't think it's touching that edge. It's down further. It might be grinding that. That'll do it. Hang on, let me start. Okay, that seems like it did it. Huh? Man, if it's touching it, it's very slight. I have a feeling that was partly the brakes themselves not being used. See, my guess is that this goes up. This has got to be going with the whole thing. If anything, it's going to be pulling away. Because this would go out when that goes up. Up, out. But that's it. That's the spot. I should have put the grease fitting back in. I just put the grease fitting in hand tight, and it doesn't want to turn. Back off a little bit, then it turns. So the grease fitting is definitely a fucking problem. But I mean, I gather the compromise is to grease it, and then you keep grease fittings in the car. You put plugs in its place or something, unless they make some kind of offset that's different. Whether it's 45 or whatever. It probably doesn't need much to miss it. Where am I here? That was what was happening originally, but it was simultaneously hitting a couple of things. So, but it definitely seems like, because I took it out and it's still hitting. Oh, look at that! It still hits. What am I hitting? I guess I was able to go over more now. I wonder if it's better to put a fucking stop in it. Maybe I do have to take this out, and that's why I don't feel it on the other side. Maybe, because sometimes you grind one thing, and then it articulates more, but then it hits the next thing. Oh. Wow, that's close. All that I grinded there is very close. I probably have to put it on the ground with both tires to really see, but that is super close. I wonder if just the grease fitting will also just go in further by tightening it more. Oh, that sucks. If I got biased black tires, it probably wouldn't have been an issue. This is really not what I expected. And if this was a regular ball joint, it wouldn't even... I was saying, if it was a regular ball joint, this wouldn't even be an issue. I don't think it's hitting that pedestal. Oh, look at that. I can... This thing really has some turning. I guess it's just still hidden there. Oh, man. I really hope by putting it on the ground it doesn't do this, but, you know, it just can't be too good of a thing. But hopefully it's not an issue when it's on the ground. But I got to try to do more anyway. When I look at it like this, I definitely got more here and a lot less on the bottom, so that's probably what needs to be done. I don't know how much, like, I don't know, like, this is part of it. I got to look at maybe somebody selling a control arm separately, because it looks like two pieces put together, like a heavy metal piece here and a thinner metal piece on the outside, and I'm grinding on the outside one. I haven't even touched this metal is higher than this metal, for sure. Oh, that's so stupid. Man, this thing hasn't been greased in a dog's age. Definitely got to do something. And I'm just hoping I can tighten down this guy even more. But, perhaps an angled one will work of some sort. It really depends how it's set up. I mean, if it looks like that, probably not. I got so much to think about. Alright. Stupid shit at the end. It really is. And it's not the end, but just stupid shit, period. Oh well. Tomorrow's another day. Alright, so I was grinding a bunch off and it was still hitting the it was still hitting the grease fitting there. And now I have a spacer there. But I only have like a 1/4 inch spacer, which is really not, it's really too big. I need like an 1/8 tops. And it's just hitting the, I don't know if you can see it, like how I'm seeing it. Come on. Alright. So, it's pretty far away now. It is hitting the little nub on the tire. I mean, it's like ultimately it's fine unless it's being turned all the way. And it's still obviously a problem. But the next thing it hit was the outside edge of that thing there, and I feel indifferent about grinding that down. Because you need the hex to remove it in a certain sense. This is not good. I had no idea. I guess I gotta let it down on the ground though as well to see how much it changes, if it changes at all. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna take out the spacer, put it all the way in where it's tiny, just a tiny bit rubbing, and let the car down. Of course, this other side doesn't help me. It's up in the air. I basically got to take it off the jack stand to really get it. And even then, with the suspension hanging, it always wants to be up. So there's only so much you can bounce it to get it to where you need to go. So I shall see. So now I just said, fuck it, and I grinded this down. because I started looking at the other side, which was less of an issue. And I'm thinking that the less of an issue was it's actually, this is more perpendicular up here, you know, and it does look like it might have been touching right there, unless I probably hit it with the, you know, with the cookie disc. But I'm thinking because it's straight up, it's not cutting it as much as if this is slightly offset and turned. Like this is level with this line right here. And it's like that on the other side. So the hex still goes down much further. It's a very high hex. But it almost looks like, yeah, see this, if this was up here, it might have not done the same thing. Not that I'm going to try to tighten it at all, but I think that really might be all it is. I mean, on top of that, I got this. But I'm going to try to screw this all the way back in now and even try to make it a little bit tighter because I know I'm not going, you know, gorilla tight on it. So without snapping it, hopefully. And I'll take it from there. Okay, so ultimately, when I did this side, then you get it's contacting the drums. So it's a little hard to hear, but it's not contacting, but I did have to remove it. It's just touching it. Now it seems like on the other side, once I removed it, I kept taking off more, and the more I kept taking off, it still like made contact. So it bothers me a little bit, but when I had it on the ground, it did not seem to be rubbing, but it's still extremely close. That being said, you know, I realize that if you can picture that side, ouch, and with this side, when this is on this side now that it's all the way, so I have a pin over here. Imagine drilling a hole and having it hit this tie rod. That's what I'm thinking. That's the best stop I can come up with, because there's really nothing else now. That little tiny bit at the end, I don't know if it's going to have enough inertia to push it over, you know, if somebody try to force it. So I'm not 100% sure. Not really much else I can do unless perhaps I put like an L shape something or other that doubles, but you can't really bolt it here because of this, but it was right around here. When this is in all the way, it's tight on the other side. So it would be like right there, blocking that so it doesn't go all the way, but I don't think it's terribly necessary, but I definitely cannot put this grease fitting. So it's a little frustrating being that I went to putting all the papers on, but I didn't grind this side nearly as much. So that also makes me feel like if the front end was really loose, and this thing doesn't get like quote unquote loose, it may just, you know, move and kind of stay there because of the nature of all this stuff, and maybe it'll change when it gets greased up. But it's definitely weird, you know, like if the alignment was off because all this shit is old, that could be a reason why that one's getting even that much closer. But it's still awfully tight, but it's really about making U-turns all the way to the end. It's just like simply if you don't yank it all the way to the end, it won't really be an issue, you know. So let's see what happens with that. I gather the smallest, you know, I think 1/8 spacer, even a 16th spacer could probably do wonders. I've decided to do, I realized I didn't see this anymore. I am going to, I don't see a problem with this being, I'm going to make it very little, but I'm going to weld this. Where's my thing there? Right here. I'm going to weld this right here. I'm going to weld it up and grind it down, and I have that tire on, and I weld this up. I keep closing it. It closes in right there, right here, this little flat spot there. I am going to opt to weld this, the knuckle, instead of the other part. It's right on top. It's part of the bushing there, basically, that goes through and whatnot. I just rather not. This one here is part of the kingpin, which shouldn't, you know, get anything terribly hot. It's not going to be a lot of weld. It needs an eighth of an inch, you know, just a tiny bit of weld over here, which is very possible. I'm wondering if it just wore out over time, you know. I gather it's mild steel of some sort, so, but, you know, it's got to be somewhat forged, yeah, you know. But I think along with this, and then I ordered some 45-degree angle ones, so I want to see what the 45s end up at. It may not do anything, but if I space it out enough, these wheels really, I mean, really tilt in. I mean, that's pretty vicious when you look at it. I don't know if you can tell, I can't see shit on the camera because of the sun. But that's a real serious turn right there. And I just don't think it's that necessary, you know? Especially since it has power steering. Like, this would be, like, if you didn't have power steering, then I can see needing to get the most out of every turn. But I just don't see it being an issue now. So the grinding probably helps, but, you know, if the front end gets changed, I don't think it's going to be an impact anyway, because I'm going to just make sure it doesn't go this far. It really doesn't need it. So, this is going to work out. So I was going to make something else, but I didn't even see that stop there. I just thought it was binding, you know. I didn't think it had an actual stop, but it does, so I'm just going to weld on top of that stud. I don't want to do it today because I do want to incorporate the grease fitting, which I'm not sure yet. I'd rather leave a grease fitting in than not leave a grease fitting in. I did grease everything, but ultimately I think that's definitely going to make a difference. I just don't see it being an issue, because I just realized because it seems like every time I was grinding a little more, it was going in a little further and going in a little further. So however, I do believe it was bottoming it out on the other side. You know, this side, when this bottoms out, it prevents that side. So this one here is wide open now, so I'd have to weld this one with that tire on, and then I'd put this tire on and weld that side. That side's not going to need as much, but I guess I should make it somewhat equal. And that'll help without having to go crazy. It just doesn't need it. It doesn't need to turn that hard. You know, manual steering, I totally get it. But not the way it's going to be, you know. So I don't see it being a problem at all.